This is Locked On NFL Players Squad Show, where real players talk real football. No filters, no fluff, just raw insight straight from the guys who've been in the trenches, in the locker room, and under the lights. You want the truth about a game? You're in the right place. It's the NFL Players Squad on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's going on, folks? Welcome into the Locked On NFL Players Squad Show. Anthony Armstrong here, the original 1-3. Glad to be joined by Bradford Banta, Jerry Ostrowski, Mark Collins, Slick himself, Professor Lincoln Kennedy, and then Jeff Scanina Z over there for us. And today's episode, just so you all know, is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. My divisional weekend has come and gone, and there were more turnovers in a bakery shop that was happening this weekend. Some crazy bad football, but good defense that was showing up. One team got bounced, a couple teams got bounced, and tears were shed, and the head coach got released. So we're going to dive into all those things, but I'm picking at a scab. So we'll start with the Bills and the Bills.
I was going to say, dude, that was kind of a diabolical intro, man.
I'm sorry, man. It was just fresh on my.
Talking about crying and everything else. I'm like, my goodness.
It was fresh on my heart, and it was breaking news that Sean McDermott lost his job. Man, they let him go. Some may say rightfully so. Some may say it was a scapegoat situation. But after that loss against the Broncos, the Bills decided to get rid of their head coach. Sean McDermott was there for 9 years, and now he's gone. So he's going to be up from one of these open positions. Obviously, a lot of things are moving, but we'll start out there with Jerry.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're talking about a guy that has 98 wins and 9 seasons. He was 8-8 in the playoffs, and obviously just not good enough in playoff football. I mean, especially with a guy like Josh Allen. Now, I say that, but that guy has to do his part too. And we can talk all you want about pass interference calls. You can talk all you want about should it have been an interception. You don't turn the ball over 5 times. Your 2 stars on your team can't turn the ball over. And, you know, James Cook did it. Josh did it multiple times. And, you know, when you have situations like that, of course, where the rubber meets the road, it's the head coach, and he's going to get fired. But those guys got to play well too. And it's just it's a tough situation. I mean, I don't think this was a Super Bowl roster to begin with. And I think that's where the arguments are going on right now in Buffalo, and that's what happened. There was a power struggle. The general manager got the ear of the owner. He won the power struggle. Sean did not. Now Sean's on the street. And I'll say this about Coach McDermott, and people know I'm a huge fan of Sean McDermott. He's a wonderful human. He's a great football coach. It's hard to find both of those in the same guy, believe me. But here's the deal. I mean, 9 years. You had a chance. So I'm not shocked by it. I'm sure Sean McDermott's not shocked by it, but I'm just trying to figure out the structure of the team now with the fact that you've got considerable cap issues, a roster that's not good enough, no playmakers, a wide receiver, and the guy responsible for all those things just gets a promotion to director, the president of football operations. That's interesting to me. This could be a really important hire. It's going to be really important because I think this is a fragile situation right now in Buffalo, not only with the fan base and everything going in the new stadium, but that locker room as well. That team was, I mean, the culture on that team was built by McDermott, and it's fragile right now.
Yeah, and I want to throw something to the hat with that, Jerry. I respect your opinion truly because you're up there and you see it most, but I believe that, and correct me if I'm wrong, the Bills haven't had a successful coach of that stature since Marv left, right?
That is true. And what's funny, Wade was good. Wade was fine.
Okay.
You forget about Wade, but since Wade, yes, they have not had a guy that good. Remember, McDermott got us out of the 17-year drought.
Yeah, that's the thing. And see, this is my point. I know we'll talk about it more as the show goes on, especially in weeks to come with the coaching vacancies. When you look at Harbaugh out in Baltimore, Tomlin out in Pittsburgh, now McDermott out and Buffalo, and you look at those programs, the building process that took those programs to get in a pillar of consistency. Yes, for the most part, they didn't get over the hump. I mean, Harbaugh didn't win one, Tomlin didn't win one, and I actually was pulling for the Bills this year. I thought with the Chiefs being down, this was their year to overcome. But much to Jerry's point, with the roster having holes in it, it saddened me as a former player to see a coach of McDermott's stature and what he brought to the program let go. But it also reminds me of the current climate that we're in, because I've seen it. I saw it with the Raiders when they made a change to Allegiant Stadium. They wanted new blood to come in there. They wanted new energy to come in there from the coaching staff. But I've always said this: coaches coach, players play. McDermott didn't go out there and turn over the ball 5 times. Exactly. And I don't know about you guys, but in my realm, if you lose the turnover battle, you're not supposed to win a game.
No,
you're not supposed to be in the playoffs. Especially in the playoffs. The fact that they were still in that pillar. But it also reminds me of the current situation. As I've said on previous shows, there is a new dynamic coming out of college that we saw in the college playoffs and everything else. There's a new player that's coming out of college. I believe you need a new energy to generate that. But it also goes back to, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
There are a ton of owners out there expecting to catch lightning in a bottle, expecting to be that new Ben Johnson, or expecting to be, that McDaniels in Seattle, expecting to have that. And I don't necessarily know if that's fair, because you put a lot of pressure on the entire staff. And without the proper hierarchy in view, without the proper chain of command to where a coach can go to his general manager and say, look, I need X, Y, and Z in order to be successful, no matter what his specialty is on the side of the ball. I don't know if you get anywhere by doing things like this. So there are a number of vacancies that are open. We've already seen some taken up, with Harbaugh going to the Giants and Stefanski going to Atlanta, but there are still plenty of vacancies. And I can't remember the last time that I saw a third of the National Football League have vacancies looking for new blood.
Right. I feel like
that's the time that we live under.
What was 22. It like? 2022? Okay.
22?
Yeah. And a stat that was shared with me with one of my co-hosts, Scott Jackson, shared that the only coach, y'all can guess this, who's the only coach that remained from that 2022 hiring cycle is still with this team? He ain't in the playoffs, so that doesn't, Kevin O'Connell, that's the guy. He's still around, right? I know this much. I feel like, at least from the outside looking in Buffalo, I feel like that roster, they complain about having receivers, but as a receiver, you had a guy that was pretty good in Stephon Diggs. Yeah, I don't know what happened and why that relationship broke up, but from this side, they make it sound like everything was all good. But you had a receiver in the building. You had a Gabe Davis that was balling. They stripped that roster down and built it the way it is right now. I think it's a scapegoat thing. I think that, when you fumble the ball and you throw the ball over, you turn the ball over, you have 4 turnovers yourself, they pay you $250 million. You're supposed to be better than that, right? You just have to play better, be smarter, and that's my situation. I feel Sean McDermott, you're taking away the culture of the team. It's going to be really shaky, and it's going to be tough to kind of have people's buy-in. And I will say this: with that said, the owner of the Colts, since she's on the field and she's so close to the action, I feel like she's not going to have a GM that pulls a fast one on her. What do y'all think on that? It's something to consider. Because I don't know how the Pagulas are gonna listen to the guy who picked the players, and then he talks McDermott out of the building. I don't know. That's my way of looking at it. Z, you got anything on that?
No, it's hard to say because everybody's doing their own thing now. I know a lot of these owners are firing and getting rid of the older coach because I don't want to pay them. They can get these young guys in there and pay them a third of what they got to pay some of these older guys, and it's a cheap exit in 2 or 3 years for them. And they'll eat the money. Because some of these guys are going to get paid just a little bit more than coordinator money as a new head coach, a first time coach. So if he doesn't work out here, he'll go get a coordinating job, and it'll balance out, and I won't have to pay him that much, on the offset. So that's another thing that some of these owners are looking at right now too, and that's why I think you can have a lot more turnover of old coaches to younger coaches to first year guys coming up in the next couple of years.
Interesting. Mark, you got something on that?
I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Z, because there's no salary cap with the coaches. Money's no object when you pay a coach. Look at Harbaugh got $20 million a year. The coach is gonna get paid, whether you're a hot shot come out of college or one of the whiz kids who know everything, analytical guy. They will get paid. But back to Buffalo, the Bills had a chance to go get a wide receiver when the time came during the trade deadline. They didn't do anything to get a receiver to help Josh Allen. So a lot of that goes to the GM. So you got what you got, you get what you get, now you're out of the playoffs. And it's sad at this point, me being an older guy, to see a coach like that all the time and the winning he put in to get Buffalo out of the doldrums back to prominence. Yeah, they didn't make it to the Super Bowl, and they had ample times to get there, but a couple of people got in the way. One of those guys were the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. That stuff happens, but they had a window to get it done. They didn't get it done. Does he deserve to get fired? I don't know, but he got fired. Here's the question to all of us: who do you get to replace that? To take that ball and keep it going in Buffalo? As an outsider, I don't see anybody. Jo, maybe you do. I don't know, but I don't see anybody who could step in and keep that train rolling.
Well, I think the biggest thing is what the general manager will end up doing is all the things that people have wanted. Now that McDermott's gone, he'll start doing all those things, And one of those things is having an offensive coach. I think that we talked a little bit about it off air. I think Kubiak, who's at Seattle, is a very good fit, and that was the first name that was mentioned and rumored to be coming in. And I do believe his agent has been contacted. Possibly, if that's allowed. I don't know how that whole thing works with you can't talk to a sitting coach, but you know how it goes, right? I think Dable is a guy that also, even though he failed out in New York, the relationship between him and Josh is very, very strong. And
Dable makes the most sense to me.
Right. Like for instance, other than his parents, the first dude that Josh Allen called to tell him his wife was pregnant was Dable. I mean, that's how close they are. So I think you're probably going to see an offensive coach. It'll be interesting to see what they do on defense because they've got some specific pieces to a 4-2-5 look that they play. They're going to have to really do some overhauling if they want to go to a base 4-3 all the time or some different things. But yeah, offensively, it's going to probably be find Josh receivers and offensive head coach, and that would be somebody like Kubiak or Dable, and somebody calls their own plays more than likely. I mean, they're going to call their own stuff.
It's going to be interesting how that plays out. I mean, this coaching carousel has been one of the wonkiest ones that I can even remember. It's like you turn the page, you're like, oh, damn, they let him go? Like, hold on a second. That's not right. But the team that won the game, the Denver Broncos, they had a wild situation. It felt like it was a glitch on my phone. It felt like when Luka Doncic got traded, I thought somebody hacked the system. Bo Nix wins the game, and then he's out for the season with the broken ankle. Before we got on here, we briefly talked about Jarrett Stidham is going to be taking the helm. He's going to be at the reins for the Broncos. Do you think that Sean Payton's going to have enough sauce, Brad? Do you think he's going to have enough pizzazz, something in his playbook to help the Broncos get past the Patriots in the upcoming matchup?
Oh, it's going to be some long nights in Denver for the offensive coaching staff. I can speak on definite experience being down with the Saints whenever for a couple years, and then watching the offensive staff work through the night and then putting together a game plan, and then those guys.
Who was the quarterback?
Oh, well, it was Drew,
okay.
But they were still working through the night. Now you throw into the fact that they're going to have a quarterback. I think it was said by somebody before the show.
He threw his last pass in 2023 in the regular season. Yeah. Phillip Rivers retired and came back and threw a regular season pass more recently than my man.
Exactly. They're going to have him ready to go. It's just going to be a matter of whether or not he is going to get the rust knocked off in time to go out there and perform. I mean, you're just like, holy cow. But I got something. I want to ask Jerry a question. Do you think the players had an inkling? Because you look at all the post-game interviews, and everybody was just, I mean, Allen was crying. I think Dion was crying. I mean, just that they knew that this was their shot.
Well, I don't think it's that they knew it was their shot. I mean, I think it's every year thing as far as a shot goes, right? I don't think this was the year. I mean, it'd been different if that roster looked different. That roster had guys. We've talked about it a million times. I mean, street free agents and practice squad call-ups every week on the defensive line. So it's not like they were where they needed to be. And I'll tell you a little bit of backstory. Kind of some people have talked about how this led up to this firing, but I think that they knew it was high stakes, Brad. I really do. And I think they understood if they didn't get to the Super Bowl that there's a good chance he's going to get fired. And them losing that game and the way they reacted, that was high. They care for McDermott that much that's where those reactions came from.
Because the stat that got me, Jerry, was you had 0 punts.
Yeah.
0 punts. Yeah. 6 scoring drive, 5 turnovers. It's just you go out there, it's just like you're shooting 60% from the floor and losing by 12 because you dribbled it off of your own foot about 9 times. So golly, aggravating.
Very.
That is aggravating. But the Broncos, though, they got to figure it out. They got.
Well, I don't care who let me talk about the Broncos, man. Yeah. I'm sorry, man. It don't matter if they run the offense they ran last week with Knicks, this dude will be fine because it's about 2.5 plays.
Exactly.
It's brutal.
Right. Yes.
I've never seen an offense cover for a quarterback as much as this one does. Peyton's a genius that they can get whatever they get. It's hit your first read. If the dump's not there, run it. It's pretty simple. Mm-hmm. It's not real hard.
If you ever hired someone who looked good on paper but wasn't quite the right fit, you know how important it is to get it right when you're bringing in a new candidate. You want those candidates to truly match what you're looking for. And if you want to do that, you need to trust Indeed-sponsored jobs. So if you're hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed-sponsored jobs put your post at the top of the page. It's going to help you reach the right candidates faster. And so, if I needed to hire somebody for this show, I need to get, a producer or somebody to do some graphics for me, I could go straight to Indeed and be very specific about what I need. I can ask for the real experience, not just a resume buzzword. So instead of struggling to get your job post seen, use Indeed's sponsored jobs to help your listing stand out and reach your quality candidates faster. Spend more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with less stress, less time, and more results using Indeed-sponsored jobs. Listeners of the show can get a $75 sponsored job credit to help give your job the premium placement it deserves at Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL. Just go to Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL right now and support the show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Do it the right way with Indeed.
We went through something like that with the Giants back in 1990. As a matter of fact, on this day, January 20th, we're playing for the NFC Championship game with a backup quarterback, Jeff Hostetler. We lost Phil Simms in Week 15, against Buffalo, our Super Bowl opponent. Lost Phil Simms, and everybody wrote us off. They're not going to win now because Phil's out, whatever. And Jeff had a game, 2 games to play, but he was a 5-year veteran. He knows the game. He knows everything. He just didn't play enough. But as a defense, we collectively, we knew what we were. We were the number 1 defense in the NFL. We knew we had to play. Didn't nobody panic. There was no, we got to raise our game, whatever. We just did what we did to win the Super Bowl. Now, here's a direct correlation to the Broncos to us. The connection is this. Sean Payton is a disciple of Bill Parcells. And I know for a fact that Sean Payton called Bill Parcells and asked, what did you do with the Giants in the 1990 season on that stretch run? And I know what Bill told him. We didn't do anything. We just did what we did. We did what got us there and played. Yeah, I know that the Broncos, as we did with the Giants, we had to make a few changes on offense simply because Jeff Hostetler was more mobile than Phil Simms. We had a lot of bootlegs, all this other stuff. But we had the number 1 defense in the National Football League, and we just played well. And we told Jeff to a person, I know we in our meeting rooms, defensive meeting rooms, we told Jeff, just give us 20 points. Because that 1990 defense, number 1 defense in the NFL, we gave up on average of 13.4 points per game. Just give us 20. We'll do the rest. Sure enough, we win the Super Bowl 2019, and we did pretty damn well. So I'm pretty sure Denver's going to be okay. The Denver Broncos defense is, I think, the number 1, number 2, and number 3 in the National Football League. They'll do just fine. Stidham would do okay, too, if he doesn't try to do too much.
Yeah. And I think the play caller is going to help with that, the boots. And one side to look at is that this is going to be a completely different quarterback, so you don't have any tape on him. You can go look in the preseason and try to see what he does. But I would expect that Mike Vrabel and the Patriots are going to put a little pressure on this guy.
And one of the things we did, I'm going to cut you off, Anthony. One of the things we did in the Super Bowl 21 or 25, we sat on the ball. We held that ball for like 45 minutes.
That's the key.
In a 60-minute game.
That's the key.
So you take that stress off that quarterback by doing stuff like that. I would not be surprised if Sean Payton does a little bit of something like that, sit on that ball to make it happen.
Well, that's the smartest thing for an offensive coach to do when you have a new quarterback is simplify the game. I want to run the football. I want to rely on what I know that I can rely on. And even though they don't have a dominant run game, but you can rely on that. And the fact is that this defense that you're playing against the Patriots is going to be aggressive. So you use a lot of misdirection, use a lot of counters and stuff like that. But just to make the quarterback comfortable, don't make them hold on the football for long to look downfield because they're going to take that away.
Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about the Patriots' defense in a second. I had to go and do some research because you said the 1990 Giants. This is crazy. Way back before PlayStation, y'all young folks, there was this Nintendo was the original Nintendo system. There was a game called Tecmo Super Bowl. Yes. You want to know what team I played with? The New York Football Giants. And damn it, Mark Collins was there on the roster from 1991. I love Dave Meggett and Everson Walls and Lawrence Taylor would just fly off the side, block every freaking field goal. Man, nice to meet you, man. Damn.
Hey, man, nice meeting you too.
8-bit pixelated form.
Legend, Tecmo Ball.
Wow. That is something. That is crazy. Never thought.
It's a great brotherhood we have. Great brotherhood.
It really is before Madden days. Wow, that's crazy. Okay, so their opponent though in this matchup, New England Patriots. Mike Vrabel's got these guys rolling. Now you could say they kind of dodged the bullet because C.J. Stroud gave the game away. Drake May tried to give it back to him, but C.J. did a little bit more. He made sure he was on vacation a little bit sooner. What are the Patriots going to do, man? What are you thinking about them, Z? They're coming in hot and heavy. They got the Broncos that are going to be down their leader. How are they going to make sure they don't get upset?
Well, I'm sure Vrabel's going to have them set for that because, Vrabel's old school football coach. He's did it the Patriot way, They're very, well adversed in football knowledge up there, and how to go into a game like that. So I don't think they're like saying, oh, we got this in the bag because we're going a second string quarterback. They're going to do their thing. They're going to play great defense, and they're going to let Drake May do his thing on offense. And it's going to be a good game. I think. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by the Patriots. I think the Broncos are going to give them a run for their money. And I'm kind of right now picking the Broncos just because of that.
Yeah. Broncos are 5.5-point dogs at home over there on FanDuel. So if y'all got that little taste for that, go ahead and check that out. But what do you think about that one, Lincoln? What do you think about that matchup?
Well, if you're the Broncos, you take a page of what the Texans are able to do with that pass rush. The Patriots put their tackles. Will Campbell struggled, and of course against an all-pro defensive end. But I mean, you've got two of them in Denver that know how to put the pressure on the pass rush, and you have an interior that plays stout against the run. So look, the Texans did what they could to make a young quarterback in Drake May feel uncomfortable. And they had their chances to win. If C.J. Stroud didn't give the ball away so many times, they might have found a way to pull it out. I think it's going to be a good game, but I'm challenged by the fact, and I remember in an instance, and we're talking about backup quarterbacks, I remember going into a game where our head coach said their starter is down. They're going to play a virtually unknown quarterback, and his name was Tom Brady. That was a tough road game. That started Tom Brady's career, and then going on to be the greatest of all time. So in many people's views. So anything is possible with a backup quarterback, but I do expect Sean Payton to simplify the offense. More importantly, I know Vrabel's defense is going to be excited. They're one step away from the Super Bowl. So there are a lot of young guys, and they did a great job at filling the holes with free agency. The Patriots did. I mean, they've got a true winner. They definitely deserve their record. They definitely deserve to be here, and they would be hosting this game if it wasn't the number one seed that actually won last week. So, this is a good matchup this weekend. I don't have a dog in the hunt. I would like to see just from history standards, the Patriots fell, but hell, this is the Broncos, so I can't really be a Bronco fan either. So, you know what I mean? So I'm probably the wrong person to ask this question of, but I just gave my 2 cents.
He's just sitting outside drinking a beer, man.
That's true story.
You're watching the game right now. Right? Kicking off the year feeling good is the goal, right? And honestly, hydration is the easiest win. When I stay on top of it, my energy, my focus, and my mood, they all level up. But let's be real, plain water doesn't always cut it, especially when you're grinding through long days, hitting the gym, or just staying consistent with your health goals. That's where Drip Drop comes in. It's a doctor-developed, proven fast hydration that helps your body and mind work together. Think clearer focus, better energy, elevated mood, even that fresh skin glow. Now, I've been using Drip Drop as a part of my daily routine, and honestly, it's a game changer. They have all types of flavor like grape, orange, you have strawberries, and they have variety packs as well where you can mix and match. You can put in the precise ratio of electrolytes and glucose for rapid absorption, delivering 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of the leading sports drinks. They have flexible subscription options, so you're never going to be stuck without it. Just automatically show up for you at the door. Whether you're hitting the gym, juggling work, or just staying consistent with your goals, they're going to have something for you over there at Drip Drop. And right now, Drip Drop is offering our podcast listeners 20% off of your first order. Go to dripdrop.com and use the promo code LOCKEDONNFL. That's dripdrop.com, promo code LOCKEDONNFL for 20% off. Stock up now at dripdrop.com and use the promo code LOCKEDONNFL. Let's take this thing up to Chicago, though, man. That was a hell of a game. A lot of highlight reel, a lot of highlights, period. I mean, the most exciting one was our honorary nephew, Cole Kmet, catching a 14-yard touchdown pass that traveled 67 yards through the air from Caleb Williams, poorly judged by the DB. We'll worry about that later. But, man, Z, how I know Chicago's hurting right now, man. Everybody check on the Bears fan. How you feeling coming out of that game?
I mean, they are, yes, my household, well, my mom and my sister and, her family, they're beat up about it, but it's football, it happens every time. I was so excited that, they threw it to Cole and he caught that, to take it to overtime, and all that. That was awesome, for the family and for him, because who knows what his future in Chicago is going to be, with that new rookie who lit it up this year. So it was good to see that. But yeah, the people up here they're selling their jerseys now. I mean, it's just crazy.
That bad, is it?
Well, no,
jersey.
Damn.
They had all these jerseys built up. You know what I'm saying? So now it's a clearance sale. Where if they're still in it, these stores and these bootleggers are still selling stuff out the trunk.
Selling jerseys, not burning jerseys.
No. Let me rephrase that. Yeah, no. It's not, it's not the end of the world yet, but it was good to see though for them and for the city. I've said it before. The city's been hurting for the old Bears to come back. These fans are great. As bad as they've been, they've always been there. For them, but it's been pretty hard the last few years. But it was good to see a winner on the field. Like that.
Yeah, man. They fought strong, but they had a formidable opponent right there. I mean, I think it was just too much experience for the Rams. I mean, Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua, hell, Sean McVay. I mean, he'd been at it 9 years, right on his second, so on the brink, on the door.
You remember last week we talked about this game, how the Rams, win this, and I said the Rams at a 1A and a 1A. Those tight ends they got and that Puka Nacua tenacity, I'm telling you. Did you see Puka talk all that junk at the end of the game? He was even doing it again. He was letting people have it. Yeah. He was bringing it. But man, listen, there's some about this Ram team that is they're well-rounded. Definitely well coached, but they're well-rounded. I don't see any weaknesses, any glaring weaknesses. Maybe I don't know. I can't use special teams. Maybe it's just special teams.
Yeah,
but
man, a little tweak over there. But
but they can make some tweaks. But overall, dude, that tenacity, they look damn good. And Chicago played well enough to win. Yeah. They really did play well enough to win. The Hail Mary shot with a DB misjudged the ball. He said he got pushed. No, he just misplayed the ball. Great throw, great catch, Hail Mary. That stuff happens, and it shouldn't have happened then, but it happened. But the Rams played well enough to do what they did, and Chicago played well enough to win, just didn't.
Yeah. Well, the Rams are going to have a hell of a test. I tell you that much, because these daggum Seattle Seahawks, belt to ass for those 40.
Did they ever?
That was
a complete game.
Man, it was one of them things. Like, after school, my kids would play football, and for whatever reason, these fifth graders were going against third graders, and then they were playing tackle. And they're like, they agreed to it. And I was like, absolutely not. No, that's what this matchup was feeling like. Seahawks really got a hold of them. I mean, obviously, the 49ers, they didn't have enough. They ran out of bodies. We could have suited up for them, but we weren't going to help that much. But the Seahawks coming in hot, man. 2.5-point favorites at home against the Rams. Lincoln, then we'll go Jerry, and then Brad. Just tell me about these Seahawks, man. What are you thinking?
I mean, as a former offensive lineman, this was a swarming ass defense. I mean, dude, they were getting after it in every way. They were shutting down the pass. They were denying the run. They stymied the 49ers offense. And look, I expected the 49ers to play a lot better because this is a team they're familiar with, especially playing them the third time. Now, I know last week before the season ended, it was a close game, and I was kind of expecting that, but it goes back to the intangibles of complementary football. When you start off with a kick return for a touchdown in a hostile territory, I don't care who you are, you're deflated. You're starting off behind the 8 ball. And
again, had a game on yet.
As crazy as it was, you start off behind the 8 ball, and now you got to go out there on offense after the crowd is riled up. You're down a deficit, so now you need to score a touchdown. I mean, look, I don't care what you say. Sphincters are tight.
That's the loudest stadium I've ever been in. I know once they took that kick to the house, it was probably full throttle the entire game. You couldn't communicate not one bit. So that's tough.
You fast forward it by saying, look, the offense could do its part, and even when Seattle's offense struggled a little bit to get a little bit of rhythm, they still found a way to create big plays. And that drive where they went down and scored the touchdown. I mean, I'm thinking of the 49ers, like, how are we going to overcome this? We can barely score against this defense in threes. How are we going to get touchdowns? So, I mean, it was just an ass whooping from that start to finish. And there's no other way of justifying it. And the Seattle was for real. And that stadium, as you're talking about, if anybody's ever been there, it's one of the loudest stadiums I've ever been. I never played in, but I played against Seattle when they were in our division in the Kingdom. And that was hard. I know, and played in Washington. I know that this is a tremendous sports town. Those fans were in a frenzy. That team was in a frenzy. This is going to be a hard one, even for the Rams to overcome.
Yeah, Jerry, what are you thinking?
My favorite thing about Seattle is everything they do is angry. They're just angry. They tackle angry. They run the football angry. I mean, everything they do is angry. The physicality of this group is amazing. And I think they've done a really good job in the fact that we all know Sam Darnold. And what's kind of funny was they talked about how he didn't throw the ball from Thursday on because he had the oblique injury. He goes out, he's 12-17. But, I think they've done a really good job of building this offense to it kind of reminds me of what they've done recently in Philadelphia with HIRES and some other places where you can, Jalen's a really, really effective quarterback if he's not throwing the ball 35 times, right? So I think they've done a very good job of trying to mask Darnold's limitations, limit some of the stuff that he can do with interceptions and everything by running the football, and then physicality, man, just defense, everything's just, like I said, everything's angry, dude. You play there, you got to walk out with PTSD because everything, the crowd, the team, it's just a nasty place to play. And I hate to say it, it's got that Legion of Boom feel again, like it used to. So I like Seattle a lot. I really do. I think it's McDonald and what he's built up there. It's probably one of my favorite football teams in the league right now.
I feel like Seattle has been a favorite of everybody's. I know a couple of us had Buffalo kind of on the side there, but Seattle, is that who y'all all kind of feel is going to win this matchup against the Rams? Is that what y'all lean, or do you think McVay's going to make some happen?
I'm not. Go ahead. I was just going to say,
throw my 2 cents in. Look, all ahead, I said it was going to be Buffalo and the Rams. And I know Buffalo's out, but I'm still going to stick with the Rams. It's just a hard task. I believe in Matthew Stafford. I believe in his experience. I know he struggled sometimes in places of the cold. I get all that. But at the same point, what McVay has been able to do with this Rams team, and when they too play complementary football, and look, they've changed things up to make it hard on defenses, whether they're going with their 12 or 13 personnel or they're going to spread you out with those receivers. Having an experienced quarterback and having, what seems like semblance of a run game, I think can prove some of a challenge. But I just know it's hard to beat a team 3 times. It really is. And when you look at Seattle and the Rams playing in the same division, that matchup, even though it's in Seattle, even though that crowd's in a frenzy, don't sleep on the Rams. They've earned their way here by going on the road and beating some good teams as well.
Yeah, I think their adversity, being able to overcome adversity, right?
Yeah,
they mentioned that loss to the Panthers and then getting some retribution and frankly having to take that long road, not having to be on that bye week could be something. This is going to be a hell of a matchup, man. It really is just some great coaching on both sides. It's just going to be some solid football. Everybody's going to be prepared for certain. And then on that flip side, AFC side, what do you think? And anybody pulling for the upset, thinking the upset? I know somebody said the Broncos. Who said the Broncos was going to win?
I did.
No, it was the.
Yeah.
I think that Patriots Bronco game. When I think about it, I thought about it when I saw the matchup. I see it's going to have a lot of Parcells and Belichick in there. Vrabel's a Belichick guy. He knows how to stop people. He knows how to create defenses. And knowing Sean Payton talked to Bill Parcells, I know he's going to try to shorten the game.
Yeah.
There's a conundrum. How is it going to turn out?
Sean Payton got more coaching and probably got more offensive coaching than Vrabel has on the defensive coach. Because Payton is a diabolical dude.
But you got to look at this though. Mike Vrabel he learned defense from Bill Belichick.
Yeah. And
I learned defense from Bill Belichick. We won championships under Bill Belichick, and so did Mike Vrabel. That man, we all played. We know how when a concept works to perfection and it travels all over the place, and from team to team, or whether this coach goes or wherever a coordinator it travels with that coordinator, and they implement that game plan to make it work. Offense or defense, that's huge. We all played. We know that.
Yeah.
So this game, Patriots and Broncos, is going to have the Parcells Belichick flavor in it.
I mean, both teams are built similarly, I think. On the
so I don't know. I mean, it's not going to be 7-3. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And I don't think Denver's going to hold the ball for 40+ minutes. But it's going to be interesting, man. And if I'm going to go with anybody, I'm gonna go with Vrabel because his quarterback has played, even though Stidham is a 5 or 6 year veteran.
Played more recently.
I'm going to take New England because the defense and Drake May is in that offense know how to do it, and they've been doing it for the whole season.
As the new year gets going, a lot of people are trying to simplify their routines, and dinner is a big one. Between busy work days, cold winter nights, and packed schedules, having an easy and reliable dinner plan makes a huge difference. I mean, I was just talking to my wife about this. That's where Home Chef comes in. Home Chef will take the stress out of cooking by delivering fresh, pre-portioned ingredients right to your door with easy-to-follow recipes that actually taste great. They're number 1 rated by their users and of all other meal kits, from quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease. And it's easy to see why. Meals come ready to fit your schedule. You can cook these things in 30 minutes. There'll be oven-ready trays or even quick lunches. Over 30 weekly options, so you're going to have a lot of variety, some family-sized meals, and different dietary options based on your needs. These are simple recipes, but they're going to feel elevated. Even restaurant quality with dishes co-created by chefs like Gordon Ramsay. You may even pick up a new recipe or find out that you like a new type of sauce. Look, like I said, everything's going to be pre-portioned, so there's less prep, less mess, and no wasted food. But here's what I got for you. For a limited time, Home Chef is going to offer my listeners 50% off of their first box free shipping, and free dessert for life. Just go to homechef.com/lockedon. That's homechef.com/lockedon for 50% off of your first box, free shipping, and free dessert for life. You must be an active subscriber to receive the free dessert. But now let's move on to the other side of things on some of these job openings. The coaching carousel, one of my favorite rides at the amusement park. Nice, slow, steady pace. Brad, we've seen the Giants hired John Harbaugh. Big claps over there. He's applauding for that. All right. Slick is happy if y'all are listening. Arizona's still open. Atlanta has hired Kevin Stefanski, so he's back in the game. They've retained Jeff Ulbrich, so he's not going anywhere. Now we've talked about Sean McDermott is now out, and he's going to mess up somebody else's coaching search. The Dolphins have hired Jeff Hafley, the DC from the Packers, so then that spot's open. The Lions have hired Cat out of Arizona, and I already looked on Twitter. They ain't really too happy with that, but hey, that's neither here nor there. Vegas has some work to do. Lincoln's looking out to see if his offer letter's coming through the mail.
And I would gladly turn it down. I don't want any piece of that.
No, thank you. Man. So is there any job openings? I feel like every time I turn my head, somebody else got fired. I feel like we've kind of the Steelers are there. OC positions. Robert Saleh's going to the Tennessee Titans. The Commanders need a defensive coordinator. So with Brian Flores out there, like, who are some of y'all's top candidates that are remaining? We'll start there first. And then what is maybe a top job that you're looking for? So since I talked to the professor, what do you got, man? What's one of your top jobs? Or sell Las Vegas to me.
Well, I mean, I would think, here's the thing. The selling would really only consist of you've got the first pick in the draft. And I think that draws possibly an offensive-minded coach. I think if you're going to take, and I do believe Spytech wants to go younger because it seems from most of the roster, you have cash to spend in free agency, but you have 22 free agents. Some of them playing on a lot of one-and-done contracts, prove-it contracts. So you got to address that. But I really think for the Raiders' standpoint, their head coach candidate is still coaching right now in the playoffs. And it's a dangerous game to play out of the four teams. And even if you wait till after the Super Bowl, because that's a very small window to get your head coach, get them in and get evaluation, because the combine is right around the corner. So it's a really, really strong. But so with that being said, I mean, I think they're going to go with a young coach. I don't really know. You know, there's been some talk about Kubiak coming out of Seattle. There's been some talk, about the young coach. I'm drawing a blank on his name, coming out of from the Rams, the offensive coordinator under LaFleur. That's it. That's right. So LaFleur. So I mean, there's been some talk of these guys, and I think, look, if I'm a young offensive-minded possible head coach, the only issue that I have with former head coaches like McDaniels coming out of Miami, does he want to take a side job where he's going to be an offensive coordinator? Because I do believe there are some of those head coaches that are the vacancies that are better suited for offensive defensive coordinators than they are for head coaches. So, you know, and look, I'm not trying to escape the question, but I honestly feel in my heart that the Raiders' true candidate is still coaching with the four remaining teams on the way to Super Bowl. It's just a dangerous game to play.
Ready. Let's go up to Buffalo, man. It's a little cold up there. Jerry. Who's your ideal candidate now that this whole thing is shaking up?
Sean McDermott. I think he's available. They should hire him.
Bring him right back.
No, I think honestly, if you look at the teams remaining and the fact that Josh Allen's the quarterback of Buffalo, the offensive coach that they want, they'll get, because who doesn't want to have the opportunity to work with the, reigning MVP and all that stuff. So, they talk about Dable because of the relationship. I've also heard Kubiak. That was one of the first names. So I'm not sure how it all works with the playoffs. You can't talk until the team's out of the playoffs and everything. But I think that Buffalo's definitely in a situation of the remaining teams. It's the same thing with Baltimore. I would think that, guys would want to work with Lamar as well. So those guys have the advantage in getting the offensive guy they want because of those two quarterbacks. But I don't know, man. Right now, I say those two, and then after that, Davis Webb is the guy they've talked about. coordinator, but Davis Webb and Josh are like damn near best friends. So
in the same age,
right?
That.
How do you have a head coach that's the best friend with the starting quarterback? I don't know how that works, right? So yeah, obviously there's some situations there that they got to look through, but yeah, I think there'll be some good candidates.
Okay, I mean, I guess it's still fresh from the loss. I know that there's a 24-hour rule in football. I don't know. I still implement this 24-hour rule for sure. Tell my kids, hey man, you can't be mad at me for more than 24 hours. So get over it and let's move on. Brad, of the remaining openings, where are you thinking is maybe your top spot? Sell that position to me.
No, so you definitely your two top spots, I believe, are Baltimore and Buffalo, just because of the quarterback situation there.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Lamar and you got Allen. So, I mean, take your pick. Then it boils down to what the rest of the roster looks like, what the cap situation is, right. Who's going to be your free agents, who's locked in for the next few years, what the culture that has already been established, how are you going to go about establishing your culture that you want? But those two teams are, rock solid for go in, plug and play. Let's go make a run right now.
Yeah, still have some success straight away.
Before we escape this point, I just want to also add in, when you think about the current climate in the National Football League, and you think about those program builders that we were talking about earlier with Harbaugh, McDermott, and Tomlin being out, do these said coaches come back and they want to have personnel decisions? Are they going to be heavily involved in the personnel, or are they going to leave it up to the general manager? And that's why I think, when you talk about the possibility of job openings where they're at, look, obviously Buffalo and Baltimore are probably two of the more, and after Atlanta's been taken out by Stefanski, that I thought was a great move for them. I thought it made sense, but the thing is that Buffalo and Baltimore have some cap issues. Am I right, Jerry? When I think about Buffalo, yeah. So you're taking on that challenge if you're a new head coach. The problem with a lot of these new young names that we're talking about, the Shulas and the McVays, and not the McVays, the LaFleurs and stuff like that, is do they know how to build a program? Do they know how to make roster spot decisions to benefit the salary cap, or are you trusting your general manager to do that? You know what I mean? These are things that you have to juggle with today's game. So, these young coaches have got to be awfully careful what job they take or they look after, because yes, it might be a promotion. You might have always wanted to be a head coach and thought that you should be a head coach, but it's just not that simple or easy to be sitting on the sideline like that. Oh yeah, I'm salivating about this, and you walk into a mess.
Right.
That's just why. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, here's a question. I'm throwing this back down to Atlanta. So with Stefanski taking that head coaching job, and I know Matt Ryan, just president of
he's the head of
football.
Yeah. But who's the general manager?
They don't have one.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they don't have one.
Making decisions.
Yeah, who's making the decisions there?
Which is just the reason why John Harbaugh chose the Giants. Other than that was the best job on the table because it's an iconic organization and the history and everything else. And he walks in with Joe Shane there. Now, we got to do a show a little bit later on. I think there's a 60-40 split on personnel decisions or whatever. But John doesn't want that to be the judge and the jury too. The teams did that stuff back in the late 90s. I remember when Mike Holmgren left Green Bay to go to Seattle, and the only reason he went because he was a general manager to a point. He had more say-so than a general manager and the coach. Coaches did that back in the mid to late 90s, and it didn't work out. So now these older coaches are moving on. They don't want that general manager, all that general manager responsibility, trying to work with salary cap, whatever. They want to just coach and build a team. John Harbaugh is in a great situation with the Giants. Being in New York, he don't have to worry about salary cap stuff. He can build a team. He's done it before. Where Link was talking about a little while ago, these young coaches don't know how to do that. John does. That's why I think when he moved to the Giants, the staff is there. His the core, the players he needs are there. It's not a rebuild, putting players in place to get it done. he's in a perfect situation. Now in Atlanta, I don't know nothing does Matt Ryan know anything about player personnel? No. I think we could walk in and have the same kind of stature as Matt Ryan.
Well, okay. With that being said, did John Lynch in San Francisco?
I think it's
that job.
But I think the York family in San Francisco, they may have been in the shadows doing the stuff for him until he got on his feet. I don't know if Atlanta has that kind of stuff in place.
Right.
I was there in San Francisco that first year with Kyle and John, and how it went down was John went out and hired two guys that had done it before in general manager, Martin Mayhew. They brought in Adam Peters, who's been a scout and front office guy forever, and he built it around him. And then they also had Mike Shanahan in the building quite a bit, helping out. So it wasn't like, John got tutorials right away. And he did a heck of a job. I mean, we were in the draft meetings and everything. He was on it, because, again, he was a sportscaster. He saw it every week, and studied film and saw people. And he was a player and played forever. So he had a good feel for it, So it wasn't like he was lost at all. I mean, it was fine. Everything was smoothly in that aspect of it. But with Atlanta, I know they were interviewing guys this week for the GM job. Yeah. It's down to two people now. The guy from the Bears, I think was Cunningham, I think his name is, and then one of the guys from the Niners. So I think by Friday, that'll be all sewed up too.
I know by the way that they built Washington's organization, just from hearing it from the outside in, I mean, everybody has their role, right? The head coach and the GM, they have a good conversation about what they're looking for in a player. And Dan Quinn just lets the scouts do their thing, and he's trusting that they're picking the right produce, if you will. They're getting the right players.
I believe that's the way you're supposed to handle a program. I mean,
I figure that's how they're doing it now. Yeah,
a head coach should have some say in his personnel, not to say end all of end all, but if we have a hierarchy based on this panel, if I'm a head coach and say Brad is my general manager, I'm going to Brad and I say, Brad, I need a left corner to shut down, left shutdown corner. I leave it to Brad to go to the guys that the other entities, the scouts or whatever, the scouting department, to find me that guy and to bring me the information. I know that when Gruden was hired the second time by the Raiders, Mark Davis handed him the keys to the car. He gave him a 10-year, $100 million contract, said, you're in charge. Gruden went out and hired his general manager. Then wanted to pick all the staff. And some of these older coaches are cut of that caliber and that cloth to where they want that. They want that say into personnel. I don't have a problem with it. It shouldn't be final say because I need to trust the others that are around me to take their word in consideration, their scouting in consideration to make the decisions upon that. But at least bring me something to the table, Brad, that I can use. Don't bring me I say I need a man corner. Don't bring me 3 zone corners and have me make a decision. No, give me a man corner. That's the way it is. So I don't know what Matt Ryan is going to do in Atlanta. But, the thing about Stefanski was enticing to me is that, look, I've got a quarterback, Michael Penix, if I can keep him healthy, and I've got a defense. That's probably as solid a start as you can get if you're a new head coach walking into a situation.
And a running back.
Oh,
yeah.
A running back that they got to keep who's him and Jahmyr Gibbs are both up.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Man.
So they got to keep that cat.
Well, you're not letting Bijan go. You'd be foolish to let Bijan go.
Yeah.
And you find a way to keep him.
Well, you're looking at probably what, 16 to 18 a year to keep Bijan,
and he's worth it. You got to pay that man his money, man. That sucker there is electrifying, man. Bijan Robinson had Commanders fans talking so bad about Bobby Wagner. They're like, Bobby got to get off the field. I said, ain't nobody gonna cover Bijan Robinson. He does that to DBs. Okay, so like it made me feel like he was on fast forward. And everybody else was in slow-mo when he's on the field. Absolutely dynamic. What else we got on job openings here? We said how Saleh has been hired in Tennessee.
Right.
So we're talking about
Arizona.
Baltimore, Arizona. Arizona ain't getting no love.
No.
Nobody want to go out there to the desert, Link?
I live in Arizona. I don't want to do it. No,
Mark,
you talk about a program. I mean, you talk about a program that struggles from they. I mean, how do you put this mildly? They can't get out of their own way. They keep messing up. I mean, look, when you draft a quarterback in your first pick, like they did with Kyler Murray, if you miss, you set your program back 4 years. They have been trying to reel through several different coaches since Kyler Murray was picked up to find out that ultimately he's not the guy. And because this is a weak comparatively to according to some of the people out there, this is probably a weak quarterback draft class. And I'm not saying your quarterback has to come out of the first round. You're really left in limbo. You don't have a quarterback, you don't have a chance. Arizona's right there.
Yep.
I'm sitting here looking at the people they've interviewed. Joe Brady, Thomas Brown, that's the Patriots passing game coordinator. Jeff Hafley was interviewed. He already got hired. Vance Joseph, they already interviewed him. They're looking at Clint Kubiak, Raheem Morris, Matt Nagy was interviewed. Robert Saleh, Arthur Smith was requested, and Anthony Weaver has been requested as well. So who knows, man? Somebody will eventually take that job, but Arizona's just a little bit too hot for me. I visited one time. I said, I'm good. It is too
Stay inside. We have
hot.
air conditioning and pools. Stay
inside. Look, you want to know what happened? Well, here's what it was. We flew down there for the preseason game, and that bus ride from the airport to the stadium was a long way. And there was some traffic, and I was up against the window, and it was so hot, and the air wasn't hitting from the bus. It didn't work. I was like, get me the hell up out of this hot-ass state, man. Just get me back to Virginia so I can keep this thing rolling. Did anybody see the national championship game last night?
Yes, sir.
Right. Cool. So a couple of those guys are probably going to be first overall pick.
No doubt.
Well, one of them is. And there's a couple that are going to be potentials out of there. I don't know. Who are a couple of your favorites from that game? Obviously, Lincoln, you're going to probably be welcoming in little Fernando Mendoza, Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. But anybody else y'all had your eyes on in that game? Brad, we'll start with you.
If it weren't for his post-game antics,
I know.
Fletcher impressed.
Yeah.
The running back.
Yeah. He impressed the entire playoff series.
Yeah, he did.
I did not see his post game. What did
Until he threw punches. He threw punches.
Oh.
Yeah.
Punches.
Yeah. So unfortunately, everything caught on film. So he's the one that impressed me the most there.
Yeah, outside run scheme. Every time I see that, I'm thinking, man, Kyle Shanahan would love to have that type of running back.
Because you're talking about a kid that's 6'2", 230.
Yeah.
And
big kid.
Can pull away from people. He proved
Scary.
that last night.
Scary.
He's like the Love kid out of Notre Dame, who I'm in love with too. I mean, he's
Yeah.
another big kid, another back, that big back that I think he's going to do well on the next level.
That's gonna be a player. Is that your well, he wasn't in the game last night, but Professor Kennedy, who you got from the game you like?
Oh, well, I mean, it's without a doubt Fernando Mendoza. Now, I was cringing when he did that quarterback draw on fourth down and those shots that he took, because I was like, dude, you don't get him hurt before he gets to the next level. But what I'm impressed most about Mendoza is that he's a smart young man that matured. Now, I went back this year and watched all the Indiana games, and I watched his time at Cal, and I saw a steady growth and maturity factor that I think you really can't duplicate. And one thing I've always said when it comes to young kids, you can't teach heart. This young man has heart. He plays smart. He sees the weaknesses. And a lot of, for quarterbacks, a lot of times it comes from the pre-snap read, and he took advantage. Now, give credit to Miami's defense, because I think everyone wants to sit there and talk about, a possible star in Mendoza. You got to give credit to Miami's defense. Jason Taylor had those defensive ends playing out there gore. They were playing on another level. So credit that Miami defense, what they were able to do. Plus, they took the short passing game away, challenged them. But still, Mendoza found a way to find one-on-one matchups with one of his star receivers, developed star receivers, versus an undersized defensive back, and took advantage of it and was able to generate first down. So there's no doubt in my mind, if I'm in a position of power and I have the first pick, the Raiders should not mess this up. I'm not saying that they will. I'm saying they should not mess this up. Mendoza all the way.
Yeah, I feel like he's gonna be a little mini Tom Brady, little robot, man. Whatever, he gonna be LFGing and yelling the same, man. Z, who'd you have in that game? You probably
I was just watching the defense.
All of the DVA, right? You nothing but defense.
From Miami, they're special. They are really special cats, and it was fun to watch them. And like Lincoln said, JT had those cats playing. It's good to see that.
Yeah.
Shout out for the ex-teammate. And the inside guy is Damian Lewis, who coaches the tackles inside, and they got that big bastard inside that was, rolling. So, who I was rooting for was, the Miami D line. So
you probably watched the game on silent, man. Don't y'all D linemen just want to watch just the tight angle only? You don't even care about the.
Just watching the end zone copy.
Oh, y'all want to?
Yeah, that's all I want to see. An occasional sideline copy. See how far back Lincoln is, so I know if I'm going to work a grab speed or not on a pass rush game. But besides that, no, just give me the end zone copy.
That would be good.
Hold on, wait a second. When did you ever go to speed rush, man?
Not me. I was grabbing
JT. So I thought you were talking about Lincoln. You, man. I said, come on, dude.
No. Know yourself, Jerry. Know yourself.
Bull all day, man. Bull.
We were now you said butt pull, and I've been like, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
They got matching scars, okay.
If this guy, of course, Mendoza played great. I mean, he's going to be number one, I would think. Ready to be stupid to let him go. Don't draft him. But if this guy was a senior, he may be a top 10 pick. That's that Malachi Tony.
Yes.
That dude.
That dude's. He's reclassified, Mark, right?
Yeah.
He should be a senior in high school, right?
Senior in high school. He
reclassified
to play.
Yeah.
18 he's 17, 18 years old.
Yeah, he just barely turned 18 in September.
Man, look, y'all saw the game. This dude steps up. It's like he was born to do just that on that stage.
I mean, yeah.
He played lights out.
Yeah.
So if he were eligible for the draft, he's got to be one of those guys who maybe not number one overall, but top 10, 15 pick.
Right.
He's electrifying.
Yeah,
I'd say right now he's probably biding his time.
Without a doubt. Brad, someone's in his ear talking about, yo, man, take it easy. Hey, you just need one more year, and then you'll be eligible for the draft. You know what I mean? That type of thing. He might. I can honestly see that. There are guys that are fighting to stay in college, but he's one of those guys that's going to command a lot of money in college and do it at his own pace. Won't have to worry about an NFL team, NFL contract. He might even be one of those that enter the transfer portal and command $10 million. Because I've seen
and he had the wherewithal to pick a team where he wants to go.
Yeah, exactly.
If hey, that team sucks. I don't want to be. I'm gonna go back to school. Weigh options, right?
Yeah.
That's what the kid from Oregon did.
Oh yeah,
the quarterback.
Yeah, Dante Moore.
More.
They said he didn't want to be a Jet. He's like, I'm going back. Sign me up for 12 more hours. Jerry, who was your person you were watching in this game, man?
Well, obviously, I was watching the D-line of Miami, but the other player I was looking at was Maui Noah, the right tackle for Miami.
Yeah.
Probably has a chance to be the first offensive lineman taken off the board in the draft in April. Really good player. Was a what's the name of the magnet school down in Miami that all those are in?
IMG?
IMG's an IMG guy. So I was watching him a lot. I like Fletcher too, Brad. I think Fletcher's a heck of a back. But, as far as Mendoza goes, and since we're giving Bill Parcells all this love today, Slick's got us going down memory lane with Coach Parcells. I think Mendoza, if you were to ask, Coach Parcells would comment about Mendoza saying that he has all those things you can't see, right? His intangibles are through the roof. I still do think he has a long way to go with some of his stuff, though.
Oh, no.
He's very RPO specific. He's very first read regimented. So he's going to have to learn how to read defenses a little more and things like that. But if you're willing to either A, go through the growing pains, or B, let him learn behind somebody for a year, I think you might have a chance to have something. But I do think he's got, I think right now his draft rating by one of the national groups, they got him sitting at about a third, fourth round off of just what they got going on. So really what's funny is they don't have any quarterback rated in the first round pick. I mean, the highest quarterback they have rated from what I've seen is Carson Beck, which would be a second round guy, which I wouldn't go that rate. But anyway, still, I think Mendoza's a heck of a guy, but I do think you're going to have to, he's not a plug and play quite yet. But as far as things you can't see, I agree with Lincoln and everything you said. I mean, tremendous leader, tremendous worker, tough as all hell. I mean, it's something you can build around for sure.
I think he seems to have the right from based on his post game antics. He seems to have the right mentality for
Yeah.
Vegas. No, I'm just saying the fact that like the dude is so much. He's like on brand. He's never going to change. So he may be good for Vegas. It may be great.
He'd be a good NASCAR driver, is what you say.
He just
always plug
or
it.
if there's a quarterback
loop,
you can bring in, you ain't got to worry about being out all night at the casinos.
That's the guy. He's the one. He's the one that's doing curfew check. Hey, are you in the room? Want to make sure you're here. Hey, just want to make sure we go over these plays one more time. It may make sense, right? You have a guy, especially if it's on a team that he didn't have to try to go and be a superhero, but he can lead them. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm excited for the rest of the offseason. I'm excited for championship weekend and then the Super Bowl and then beyond. But appreciate you guys, everybody here on the screen. We thank you all for watching and hanging out with us. This has been the NFL Player Squad Show. Y'all be good.